are you and the NRA now on the wrong side of the national conversation in the U.S., where nobody's listening to your side anymore?
You need to stop repeating a blatant lie.
I don't see how any of that brings you to the decision that the answer is to get rid of gun laws.
Sorry, but that's a complete lie. Have all seen increases.
John Lott, I think you're massaging the stats slightly. You've got to book out more guns, not less.
I said it with a total myth.
That was a bit of a compilation of our friend Dr. John Lott, America's premier scholar in Second Amendment rights, basically the right to bear arms. He's the author of books like More Guns, Less Crime and The Bias Against Guns. We've had John on the show a lot, but this was his recent appearances on CNN and CBC doing the circuit. I guess those were called interviews, John, but actually you were just invited on to be the bear in a bear baiting, weren't you?
It was an interesting experience. BBC, other places have been similar. Actually, kind of surprising. I've been done a lot of TV over the years and radio, but this has been different.
Now, I've watched a lot of your interviews, and you don't make a moral argument or a constitutional argument. You're not saying, well, our American Constitution guarantees us the ownership of guns. You just say, look, guns work. They stop crime. They, the quickest way to stop a mass shooting is for the second gun to arrive, and the sooner that happens, the better. You just study how shootings actually happen. Why does that make people so damn angry at you? Because you're actually not even arguing philosophy. You're just saying, I've studied the numbers, and here's what works and what doesn't.
Right. Well, I think they want me to go and argue Second Amendment issues, but that's not what motivates me. What motivated me from the very beginning on the research is what saves the most lives. And I think they have very strong views on this. I mean, you listen to the news. I mean, people, without even trying, can probably remember what they think are hundreds or thousands of stories about bad things that happen with guns. I mean, when was the last time you watched the National Evening News and heard a story about people using guns to save their lives or save the lives of others? And yet, if you look at the research, people use guns defensively to stop crimes about 4 or 5 times more frequently than they use them to commit crimes. But that isn't something most people have heard, and I think it affects not only the average person's views, but I think it affects the media's views on this. But somebody like Piers Morgan, or a couple of interviews I did with the BBC, you'd go and you bring up the fact that UK homicide rates rose after the 1997 handgun ban. And, you heard Piers there just yelling over and over again that I was lying when I brought that up on the BBC. What was supposed to be a 10-minute interview was cut down to 3 minutes. And, it's easy to find. I mean, I sent your producer links for these things, and they can go to the Home Office for the UK. Very easy to see what happened to homicide rates afterwards. It's just a simple fact to go and check. But it's not just the UK. Every place in the world that's had a ban on either all handguns or all guns has seen the same thing. And it's so, partly it's so contrary to what they have heard in the media themselves. But I think it's also, I know Piers and Christiane Amanpour and others have looked at the numbers, and yet they still make these comments to the public. So it's hard for me to understand what's going on.
Well, I think it's clear what's going on, because you're not emotional, you don't shout, you're academic, you're one of the most cited academics in America. You just say, well, here's the actual facts. And what that does is it gets in the way of their being morally righteous, because they don't have a real solution to gun crime. They just, okay, well, ban guns. If that doesn't work, ban them again, super ban them, double, triple ban them with a cherry on top. So you sort of prove that all they are is an emotional mess. And you're saying, well, if you put emotion aside, it actually doesn't work. Are you still sticking with your first answer? And they're clearly saying, yeah, I am, because this is, I think it's them showing how emotional they are is proof of how noble they are.
Right. Well, it's interesting. Not only, it's not right just to say it just doesn't have any effect. What I argue is that the types of rules that they want to have actually make things much worse, that criminals try to find places to attack victims where victims aren't able to defend themselves. You look time after time. All these multiple victim public shootings, with one exception, have always occur where guns are banned.
Yeah.
And, you see something like the Colorado shooting this last summer where there's 7 movie theaters within a 20-minute drive of the killer's apartment. He doesn't go to the closest one. He doesn't go to the one that's the largest where you have the most victims. Instead, he goes the only one that bans guns. And I can give you the Portland Mall shootings, all time after time, you see the same type of pattern that's there.
John, I'm afraid I have to wrap up our interview. It's not because I don't like what you're saying. It's because I talk too much and we're out of time. Please keep in touch, my friend, and keep fighting for freedom and public safety, okay?
Thank you.